And this is part 3 of lecture 24. So in this part, we're going to talk about one specific problem with doing backpropagation through time for regular recurrent neural network. It's basically what's called the vanishing gradient problem. So in the previous part of the lecture, we talked about finding the derivatives like h1 and h2 and then h3 and h4. They are connected this way. And say y4 and then c. So when we take the derivative, remember we need to take the derivative of this, and then also this, and also that. So imagine we have a very long sequence, and we are basically going backwards. And so we need to multiply the derivative of this derivative, multiply by this derivative, multiply by that derivative. And if all of these derivatives are small, then that chain would be close to 0. So basically, it's not adding anything every time. So we are basically not updating the gradient properly. And remember, when we take the gradient here is the weights multiplied by some activation. So in particular, if the weights are small, then if we multiply the same weights, and they are the same weights multiplied multiple times, by the way, and it's going to be increasingly small, and at the end, it will be numerically close to 0. And of course, there's the opposite problem when these weights are large, and then we're multiplying the same weights like multiple times. It's going to blow up and basically cancel out everything else. So these problems are called the vanishing and exploding gradient problem. So here it says if the weights are small, then the gradient multiplying through the layers for different time steps is going to be close to 0. And this is called the vanishing gradient problem. And the opposite, when the weights are large, we're multiplying this multiple times and it's going to explode, and it's the exploding gradient problem. So we talked about this before, actually, when we talk about very, very deep convolutional neural networks. So remember, at that time, I said there are ways to solve this problem. Basically, I just gave you the names like the inception modules and the skip layer connections. And well, this time I'm going to give you the name of the things that we can do to the structure of the network that can solve these problems as well. So we are not going into any of the details. I'm again going to leave these to 760. Okay, so here it says if we have a fully connected network or a very shallow convolutional neural network, then we don't have this problem. We never had it because there are only few layers, so the product of those gradients will not get very small exponentially. So this will happen even if we have a very shallow recurrent neural network, meaning we don't have multiple layers of hidden units, as long as the sequences are very long. So suppose we have very long sentences or very long documents, then these gradients can vanish. We mainly care about the vanishing gradient problem. We don't really care about the exploding one. So we need ways to fix this by modifying the structure. And at the same time, another problem that we can solve with the vanishing gradient problem is the long-term memory problem. So at the moment, it is not good at dealing with these long-range dependencies. So basically, at the beginning of a sentence, say, for example, introduce a context, and the context is forgotten very quickly because we have these long chains of relationships, and these hidden units may not be that good at keeping the memory. So we need some kind of mechanism to keep track of the memory of the things that occurred like many time steps ago. So combining these two problems, the very, very popular solution that I will just tell you the name is the long short-term memory units added to the recurrent neural network. So roughly speaking, maybe it's not exactly correct, but roughly we're just adding more connected hidden units, and we're adding more activation functions. So that's the basic idea here. We're going to add to the structure of the network, and hopefully those new hidden units can keep track of the memory better with some kind of special activation functions. Actually, not that special. It's just different ways of combining these activation functions. And we're going to call these the gates, and each gate has a different purpose to how to basically update the values of these hidden units. And these units, again, are used to keep track of long-term, long-range dependencies. So instead of me drawing a diagram, which I don't remember any of these, let me find one diagram. This diagram looks like it's too small. So, well, let's try to look at this. So the regular recurrent neural network that we talked about before is just one input, and then we have one activation function, the hyperbolic tangent, and it links the previous previous time step hidden unit, add this current input and get the next time step hidden unit, and as well as the output. So what we're going to do is we're going to first add another unit to keep track of something like long-term memory, and we're going to get like a whole bunch of activation functions, and we're going to somehow combine these using some operations to get the memory units and to get the regular hidden units. So that's basically all I want to say. And there's another structure called GRU that I included in the next page. Gated recurrent units, they are very similar to these LSTM units, but they have different activation functions, basically different gates. So let's get back here, and I do have another, hopefully more clear diagram. Yes. So as you can see, we are just combining these activations from either the logistic activation or the hyperbolic tangent activation. Here, we're combining them in various ways, sometimes just pointwise multiplication or pointwise addition. And we combine these in specific ways to get the hidden units in the next time step and the memory units. So as I said, that's all I want to talk about. And I posted a link to the original paper and some website that explain the specific mathematics behind why we are adding these and how they actually work. So when you see the formula, it's actually the same as before, which is, as I said, adding more activation functions and more units, and the gradient descent algorithm is actually the same as well. But I will leave you to reread these things if you are interested in them. So here I'm just, again, mentioning the names.